Yep.
Okay, it is Wednesday, May 16th, 2018. The Dudley Conservation Commission meeting is now in session. Members, state your name for the attendance record, please.
Nancy Vukovic.
Richard Andrelevich.
George Slingo.
Fran Mikulajczyk.
Thank you. First on the agenda is the Baker Pond Association, discussion of the existing boat ramp. Is there anybody here representing the Baker Pond Association?
Hi, I'm Wayne Markey.
Hi, Wayne, how are you?
Good. And we have the president of our association, and Jerry Frank is one of the people that kind of brought it.
Please sit down and speak into the microphone.
Sure. So, if I can, I guess, give you a little bit of background. I've been on Baker Pond lived there since 1980, and when we moved in there, there were no invasive weeds. There were just native weeds. There were plenty of lily pads and so forth, but there were no invasive weeds. And then probably about a dozen years ago, variable milfoil came in at there's a cove where there's a dam and a couple of little boat ramps located. It came in that cove and is spread. And so we've been dealing with that for 10 or 12 years. It costs a ballpark of $4,000 or $5,000 a year to get that treated. And then just in 2016, it was found that cove where the boat ramp is, that had something called fanwort. It's another invasive weed, comes from South America. And we just 2 nights ago met with Solitude, who's the main, weed treatment company, and their proposal is for a treatment area of 60 acres at a cost of $42,000. So it's about a 10-fold increase. It's a different chemical, and it's much more expensive chemical at a higher usage rate. So we're struggling with how to come up with that money. And that's kind of our issue. So we're looking into a few avenues. We really are financially strapped currently with those two invasive weeds. There's another 7 or 8 out there that are in the state: hydrilla and water chestnut and naiads and so forth. And I think if we get a third one in there, I think everyone will just throw their hands up and say, we can't do it anymore, and we'll basically lose that resource. I guess it's your wetlands expert, Matt, came out, and he looked at it, and you do have his report.
Correct.
And his report is basically to limit that to essentially carry-in boats, kayaks, john boats. And the main problem with these invasive weeds is that the current boats, the current trailers for boats are no longer, people aren't using 12-foot aluminums with rollers. It's 16, 18, 20-foot bass boats. I own one. It doesn't go in our pond, but I do own one. It's got 18 square feet of carpeting, wet carpeting that the boat sits on, that you cannot pick those weeds off. It's between the hull and it's sandwiched. It's wet. The things that get trapped there are viable for weeks. So that's really what we were looking to do. I think that kind of regulation probably wasn't necessary when I moved in, because there were hardly any of these invasives around. I used to go to Quabog Lake. I knew where there were like 3 isolated weed patches I used to fish. Now you go there, there's no open water. I mean, it's just, in the summertime, you feel like you can almost walk across Quabog at times. So that's why we're really looking to get some restriction on this. We we understand, politically, it's hard to discriminate lake residents and non-residents. So our association has kind of pulled the members, and we're going to kind of go back to the way we used to do it, of just putting, there's I don't know, 4 or 5 people that live on the lakes, on the lake, that have a yard that's suitable to put a couple boats in. And so we'll just do it kind of ourselves as residents. And so what we'd be looking to do, and basically that's what the report says, is to close those 2 ramps to trailer boats.
Because I had spoke to Matt about this the other day, and Matt says during his investigation of how that piece of land was donated to the town, that was donated to the preservation of that pond, which means that boat ramp shouldn't even be there.
Yes, yeah, we could get into finger
So
pointing
that's
as
how
to
that-
how that happened.
How that happens beyond me, it was probably long before my time, but
Yeah, it's not gonna be productive to point fingers, but yes,
right.
I think the Ruth Kaprowski letter where she donated it, I think the term was that the land should have no improvements.
Right.
And obviously paving a ramp.
right. So Matt recommends, I'm sure you have, but he recommends that the paved ramp be removed and gravelled. Both ramps be closed and boat access not allowed at all. That's his recommendation to this board. Not by canoe, not by,
That's fine. Yeah.
and I hear where he's coming from, because you can take a canoe and go to another pond and bring milfoil into that pond.
Yeah.
So I understand where he's coming from. The Jersey barriers and the boulders at the gates or whoever, who would be responsible for that? Again, you guys, your resources are limited,
Yeah. Well,
I,
How about if you
Yeah.
I am chairman of this commission, but I also own a construction company in town.
Yep.
I would be willing to donate the boulders if you want to block that off. I would be willing to do that for you. If that's going to help you out, I would be willing to do that for you.
Offer accepted.
works just as well.
But I want it to be a vote of this board that, we are going to vote to close that boat ramp, and it's not going to be allowed for use by anybody.
Yep.
If you see somebody, it's not going to be up to us to police it. You're going to have to call the police department or wherever you see, and, or put up a sign and say, no boats allowed, and that's who's going to have to police it, But if we vote to close the boat ramp, then it is going to be closed. That's what Matt's recommendation is, and I feel the same way he does.
Yeah, and we do also.
Is there anybody else?
There's a couple of boulders right there that were probably pushed aside to make the ramp, so, the piece of equipment, they could just be moved over 10 feet and block it. I don't know if there's enough, but if you've got.
I'll take a ride by, there and I'll look and,
Yeah,
it's just removing that paved ramp and that. Let me look at that, and I will, just do me a favor, Jerry, and give Carol your phone numbers so I can get a hold of you,
Yep.
and, I can see what I can do over there to help you
Could you
out.
just,
Yeah. Okay?
why do you have to remove the paving?
Because the pavement is being eroded, with the boats are coming in and out, and the
Right,
pavement's starting to crumble up.
If you put the rocks over the pavement, then they can't get in there anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the pavement's starting to erode, it will end up in a pond, that's what it's doing.
I think Matt wanted to rip up the pavement, because right now, like, road salt, whatever, just runs right down.
Right.
So,
He's looking for something to cleanse it a little bit,
yeah, so I
before
think
it gets,
that gravel
before it gets there,
is-
right,
Yeah, it's a little bit of a buffer zone.
yeah.
Makes sense.
And I think if there's some expense of, a few $100s or something like that to put up some signs or whatever, again, we're trying to save the pond. So if there's
I totally agree
something
with
like
you.
that,
I totally agree.
then please approach our pond association. We'll do whatever we can.
I don't believe they're that expensive even. I think you can get them. I think Atlantic Broom is
Yeah.
who the Dudley Highway Department uses, and the signs may be less than $100
yeah.
for a couple of signs.
Well, I would say boulders.
Yeah.
There's an existing
gate, somebody can-
conservation sign there, correct?
Yes.
Still? There
It
might be
was.
some room. There might be some room on that post to add a sign, so you wouldn't have to buy another post.
Okay.
And you can probably go right down to that new place in Putnam there and get a sign that says, no boats allowed. Or maybe like an Abishon's or something like that.
I mean, is it
You know.
Runnings or something like that?
Yeah, Runnings, yeah.
Yeah, you would have to let us know what you want the wording to be on, because it's your property, not ours, so, you know, we want to make sure that whatever wording we put on
I'd
the sign
become to
is-
believe sometimes people
What?
can't read anyway.
Yeah, the sign
Sometimes it
actually
doesn't matter,
does say
Jerry,
no
you know.
motorized vehicles.
I don't mean that in a bad way, I
Nobody
just
puts
mean
in a
sometimes
motorized
people are gonna do
boat
what they
in there
wanna do.
anyways.
And you can't say no boats, because technically a canoe or a kayak or whatever is not a boat. So you gotta be careful, maybe you wanna say no watercraft allowed.
All right, well, we'll.
Or no,
point.
no watercraft launching or
let you
whatever,
craft that.
something like that, because a boat is a boat, but a kayak is not considered a boat.
Okay.
It does,
That
it
already
does,
says, on the sign, it should say passive recreation only.
No, it doesn't. I don't.
On the
believe that.
sign, it doesn't say that?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, does it?
which means no motors, but
Right.
people don't listen to them.
Okay, so just make sure they give you their numbers, Cal, so I can get
Okay.
them over at some point. Anybody else have any comments? Okay. Motion?
I make a motion that we approve the removal of the existing boat ramps at Baker Pond, and in favor of, and then putting up a sign regarding no watercraft allowed, and then the boulders to block it off.
Second.
Okay, a motion was made and seconded to grant the right to remove the paved ramp and put some gravel down there to stop the erosion from running into Baker Pond Road, to close that boat ramp to all boat, canoe, paddle boat, whatever traffic, and
All
to,
watercraft, yeah.
all watercraft, and to install some boulders at the top of the road to hopefully stop the people from using it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, $4,000. It's big, big, it's a big pond.
Big pond?
Is it big? 'Cause we're only 18 to do the
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is 180 Klondike Road. This is a public meeting, this is an RDA for the removal of trees. Just so the public here knows, we made a mistake at the last meeting by voting on this, not knowing that the ad in the paper was not posted in time for our meeting.
No, not a big pond.
So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna re-vote on this issue. That's just so everybody knows. I mean, we made a mistake. This is just another formality, just to clean up something that we did in error. So, 180 Klondike Road, just for everybody who's here, again, this gentleman had some trees that were in pretty bad shape when I went down there. I mean, branches broke off, half of them broke in half. He wanted them taken down, he hired a tree company. Tree company went over, looked at them, I advised him what to do. So that's why he's here, it's an RDA, he's gonna cut the 4 pines down, he's not gonna remove any stumps. He's gonna leave them and just, he's gonna add a couple of shrubs there, and it's more safety for his camp than anything else. Okay, so,
I make a motion that we issue a -3 with the suggestion to add shrubs to 180 Klondike Road for the RDA for the removal of trees.
okay, a motion was made and seconded.
Second it. Second.
I'm sorry. Okay, now a motion was made and seconded to grant a -3 determination to 180 Klondike Road for the removal of the trees, with the suggestion that he adds a couple of shrubs in replacement of the trees that he's gonna cut. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Unanimous.
No,
Thank you. Oh, Third on the agenda is the ratification of an enforcement order for Jesse Road. Who knows about this? This a wetlands violation?
No, you're all set to go. I'll
Yes.
send you, make a
Yes.
determination
Are you here representing Jesse Road?
I'm gonna call Ron
Builder?
when I get home,
and get it done.
so he can get the
I-
crane and
Are
everything.
you in a butter to, oh, you're in a butter? Okay.
Yes, Alton Drive, Jesse Road, it's all part of the same,
But, yeah, but here, they're not the builders,
Subdivision.
or, they're the butters, they're the ones that,
Right.
I'm assuming took the pictures or whatever?
yes.
Okay. Could you just come up here and tell us what you observed, just so, since I just heard about this 2 minutes ago, and... Sure, why not?
John Giaquinto, 42 Alton Drive. It was approximately a month to month and a half ago, the property next to us, which would be considered 44, we had surveyors and wetlands experts out there flagging the property, marking everything. We were informed at the time that any action that was to be taken on that land, we would be notified since we are the abutters. I believe it was last Thursday or Friday. Everything just started getting knocked down, plowed over, and the people that were doing it were basically filling in the wetlands. They did bury at least 2 flags. They have, I guess, been told to stop, but there is a fence to catch any type of runoff right now, which is within the 25-foot, I guess, no-touch zone is what you would call it, but that's already past one of the flags that was buried.
But did Matt go out there, or somebody who went out there?
Yes.
Matt went out there?
Yes.
Did he order the silt fence put up, or, no?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yes.
Matt
He
did?
did.
Okay. Okay, so Matt, our
There's
consultant...
been, like I said, besides what they knocked down for trees and plowed over, they did dump at least 3 dump trucks full of everything, including siding and trash and whatever else, over the edge into that area. There hasn't been anything since then because, like I said, that happened on I believe it was a Thursday or a Friday, so there was nobody in the town offices. So my wife and I did actually get in touch with the state DEP, and they sent somebody out. So they haven't done anything since then, but we would actually like, as the abutters, to have them at least take that stuff out of there.
That's something we'll deal with,
Okay. You know,
that's what we're getting into here. We're ratifying.
Correct
They
the
got an enforcement
situation,
order
yeah.
from us now. Am I correct, Carol?
Yes.
Matt issued him an enforcement order? And what he wants us to ratify is just to vote on it, am I correct? Okay. That's what we are gonna do tonight, is to vote on an enforcement order, then Matt, our consultant, will be in touch with them and the state DEP and how to fix what they did wrong. But they can't do
Gonna
anything.
get some kind of notification on that then?
Yeah, that's gonna depend, on what the DEP does. Since DEP was called, DEP could supersede us, which means we wouldn't even have a say in the matter.
Well, I believe my wife had talked to, it was a Gary,
Yeah,
and I think he pretty much said he was letting Matt take
Okay.
care of it.
so he's left it, okay, so, like I said, you know more than I do right now. I mean, I wasn't around, I wasn't around this weekend, so I don't know. I just found out about it when I came in tonight, so, but yeah, we will take care of that.
That's it.
Okay, yeah, we appreciate your input, and
I mean, we got a lot of pictures and
we thank you for
videos
that.
and everything.
Carol's got them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I make a motion that we ratify the enforcement order for Jesse Road, 44 Jesse Road.
Do you have a folder on that, Carol?
Yep, the one on top. Right there. Isn't that the Jesse Road subdivision?
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, right here.
What did I do here? This is Klondike.
That one.
But hang on, let me,
Sign that, yeah.
do these first. This is,
That's next.
okay, that's next, okay,
This is Jesse Road.
okay. Does Matt have a letter in here, Carol? No?
No.
Okay, so he just wants us to vote on the enforcement order that he issued. Okay, okay.
I
Okay,
made the motion.
yep.
We need a second.
He is second.
Okay, need a second on Nancy's motion?
Second.
Okay, a motion was made and seconded to complete the enforcement order, ratify it, for the proposed project at
44 Jesse.
44 Jesse Road. Which is owned by Four Lots Realty Trust, 2 Dearborn Way, Middlesex, Mass. Am I correct, Carol?
Yes.
Okay. Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Unanimous. Now, Carol, did they get a copy of that already from Matt?
I believe he did receive it.
That Four Lots received the
Yes.
enforcement? Okay. Well, it's part of the subdivision plan that we have here, well, in that folder, which we haven't done anything with yet. You know, he hasn't officially
Right.
submitted it to us, so we can't act on it. So what he did there right now was without our permission, without our blessing. So that's why he's got an enforcement order, which he can't do anything there now until he deals with that enforcement order.
He has a cease and desist.
He's got a cease and desist, that's correct.
He can't do that. On the whole subdivision.
That's correct.
On the whole subdivision, yep.
The next four
Okay,
notices
next
are-
on the agenda is Lot 1, Baker Pond Road. It's a notice of intent for a single-family dwelling. Is there anybody here for Lot 1, Baker Pond Road? Oh, Mark, okay. All right, this is,
And the builder.
Okay.
Seth Davis is the builder.
Hi, how are you? Okay, this is a public hearing. I will open up the public hearing at 6:40 for Lot 1, Baker Pond Road. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, Mr. Farrell.
Good, how are you?
Good.
The butters?
Huh?
The butters?
Are there any abutters here to Lot 1, Baker Pond Road? Okay. Yep, we'll get to that right now.
So we opened that meeting, we opened the hearing last meeting, and we didn't have a DEP file number, which
Oh,
is
that's
since...
right, we did open
since-
this. So this was a
since it- I
continuance,
believe they
Carol, right?
opened
Yes,
it.
it should be, yeah.
Yeah, and there was not a DEP file number, which came shortly thereafter.
Right.
Open to continue.
So basically, what they're doing on Baker Pond Road, they're gonna put the house, is sitting up on a hill. There's a little bit of a field there on the uphill side, and on the other side of Baker Pond Road is a wetland system. So they're gonna be, within the buffer zone, the construction's gonna be the
Remember this house.
installation of the septic system in the driveway.
This is, okay, this is Rosina's lot, yeah, okay, yep.
So there's the septic.
office area there.
So it's within the, it's within
Put
the,
100,
where's the
outside
well?
the 50.
okay.
Do they have town water?
Wells right here.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
No, there's no town water over there.
No.
Oh, here's the boat ramp.
Yep.
I don't see anything.
I don't see any issue. Did Matt issue a recommendation, Carol?
A standard order of conditions.
Okay.
Is this for yourself, Seth?
No, for a customer. I wish this was myself.
I was gonna say, it's a nice,
I'm kicking myself in the butt now.
I've done that more than once.
it's a nice area.
Beautiful.
But it's not on the water.
No,
You're not gonna be able to use the boat ramp though, huh?
Oh,
Is Baker Pond a great pond?
a great pond? No,
I don't know that.
I think
I
so.
don't think so.
I don't think so.
Well, they got 60
Webster Lake is
acres.
a great pond.
Yeah, but it's 60 acres. I thought the definition of a great pond in Mass was 55.
I don't know what the limit is. I think it has to be in its natural state too, so if it's some sort of mill pond that was dammed up, it might not be if it's,
I don't even know if that was ever a mill pond. I don't know that.
A great pond.
There is an old dam,
There's an old foundation there,
yeah.
but that doesn't mean, I don't know. I really don't know that.
how many acres is that?
I believe that's 60 acres, because he made the mention of it here tonight. But I do recall
Yeah, it's not,
that
it's not,
being-
it's not a large amount of, it might be about 60 acres. Because I have a place on Lead Mine Pond that's 73, and that's a
Well,
great pond.
He said the 60 acres needed to be treated.
Right.
He didn't say how big the pond was. That's what he said. His comment was 60
60
acres
need to be
needed to be
treated?
treated. That's why it was the $40,000. Right?
And I believe that's 23 acres that Ruth Kaprowski had donated. It's quite a big chunk.
Yeah, chunk of land, yeah.
Mm, yeah.
I don't know how big the pond is.
Okay, I don't see any issues with it.
I don't, I'm not close to.
Mark, did you go to the Board of Health already with this?
It's at the Board of Health,
Oh.
but there shouldn't be any issues. I mean, it's,
I was just asking. I mean, there was
Yeah.
no.
but we submitted at the same time. I don't know if he's actually approved it yet, but, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Any questions, Nate? Randy?
I'm good.
Doug? Okay, motion.
Close the public hearing.
Are there any abutters here again for Lot 1 Baker Pond Road? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing at 6:46 PM.
I make a motion that we issue a standard order of conditions for a single-family dwelling for Lot 1 Baker Pond Road.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to grant a standard order of conditions to Lot 1 Baker Pond Road for a single-family dwelling. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So he recommended standard order of conditions on both of those?
I'm just gonna stay put here because I
Right.
think I might have a couple more.
Yep.
I don't know what else is, I don't know what your agenda is, but
Okay, this next on the agenda is Lot 17 Corbin Road. Notice of intent for installation of a new leach field. Mark, you representing
I'm representing the Dohertys. They're here tonight.
17 Corbin Road?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so there's a notice of intent. I'll open a public hearing at 6:47 PM.
So this project's on the piece of land that they were interested in putting a cemetery on. And the Dohertys are gonna buy the land and keep it in agriculture, and they wanna put a single-family dwelling on it. So what they're proposing to do is, there used to be an old barn there that was recently taken down. kind of enter the land there, and then back, about 500 feet in that first field there is to put their house, kind of on the crest of the hill. We went out there, it's tougher soils out there, there's high groundwater, so we kind of went to the lower side so they could gravity down and put a system in there. And so basically, the only work that's going to be in the buffer zone is going to be the installation of the septic system. The house and the drive, they're all outside the 100-foot buffer. So the work is just to, you open up the plans, there's a tree line around the field, downhill of where the septic's going to go, and then back below that is a vegetated wetland. There's a little dug farm pond towards the front of the property, and then that kind of meanders back. I didn't go all the way back following it. So they're not going to do any work beyond the edge of the current field.
This was the old Maninsky estate.
Yeah,
It's across the street from one of the nieces lived there, and still across the street from the old barn.
And then what we did is we put straw wattles below the work area, above the vegetation, put in during the construction.
There's a stone wall down here along this too.
What's that?
There's a stone wall, if I remember correctly.
Yes, there is.
down
There is a
along
stone
this.
wall. There's a stone wall. And some nasty vegetation in there. Multi-floor rows, like big time. Yeah, there's a little bit of stone wall, and then it drops off down to the wetland area, and then it kind of flattens out.
so this is the 50-foot.
This is,
Beautiful piece of property.
yeah,
Part of the septic is going to be right
That's
on the
up.
very edge.
right. It's a beautiful piece of land.
Yes, it is.
I don't have an issue with it. I mean, not gonna disturb anything there. Are there any abutters here to 17 Corbin Road? Okay,
You said your breakout is gonna be how far away from the wetland?
The breakout, the toe of the slope is probably
40 feet, 50 feet?
About 50.
35 feet maybe. So they're not gonna break that existing, there's vegetation down below.
Right. So you're not going anywhere near that?
We're not going anywhere near that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say it's more like 40 feet. Closest disturbance to the buffer, to the wetland down the bottom of the slope.
I see you got the 50, yes, yeah.
I got a little line on there that says WL 50, which would be 50 foot off the
50
wetland.
50-foot buffer.
I put that WL 50 because that's the Title V setback for a leach field to a wetland.
I'm good.
No abutters? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing for 17 Corbin Road at
651.
6:51.
I make a motion that we issue a standard order of conditions for the installation of a new leach field for Lot 17 Corbin Road.
Second it.
Okay, motion was made and seconded to grant a standard order of conditions for the installation of a leach field for Lot 17 Corbin Road. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Well,
They're just doing the leach field, they're not applying for
the house is outside.
The house is outside.
Okay.
It's way up. Corbin Road, is it 17 Corbin Road?
Lot 17.
Well, where's lot 17? What number is that?
Doesn't have a number. There's no,
I was just on Corbin Road today.
You're all set, Mark, for that.
Okay, great, thank you.
I used to farm that property.
Everybody falls
We're trying to find somebody to hate it right now, it's making us crazy.
Todd Moran.
We called him. We ended up getting, I guess he's got a cousin or somebody that was thinking of giving up their cows,
Yep,
and they decided that they would give them up, so
Yeah,
they
okay,
stayed
yep.
in the fields.
so what about Kepke down the street?
Jim Kemke.
Jim Kepke?
I called him, he wasn't interested. It's-
Yeah, you can see he got out, he sold his cows.
I mean,
They're in the beef.
We hate to see them.
He's still got a lot of. I built half of them fields.
Did you? You built half that field? I mean, they're beautiful fields. They're beautiful.
Back in the
We just want somebody.
middle
to,
'70s.
You know, do.
Yeah. When you go through it, when you go through that first field, you get to the end of it, there's a stone wall there, then you go into another field. That was all scrubbed, that whole field was all flattened and bulldozed out by me.
was there then too.
Yeah,
Last spring,
we hayed that field for years.
Annabelle had leased
right.
it out to,
Yep.
what's that guy's name?
Somebody grew corn or something,
Yeah,
right? 'Cause
he
they-
had no permission, he turned over a whole field, but you couldn't see it from the road, because he did it,
Really?
oh yeah. So we're not having him back, obviously, but we're having a heck of a time trying to find somebody that'll hay it, because right now, we're gonna be too busy building the house.
To the right-hand side of
Why don't you call, we're getting a little away from wetlands here, but
Sorry.
no, it's okay, well, it was on Airport Road there, had the farm over on Ramson. Kid lives by me. Boy, I hate this.
On Airport Road?
Yep, he owns Bates's farm, he owns Bates's now. What am I talking about?
Farm?
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep, he had the Jersey cows.
Yeah.
Ah,
K,
starts with a K.
Is there a farm on Airport Road?
It's a Polish name,
yeah,
yeah. He came before us.
Calgren.
What?
Calgren, Victor Calgren.
Oh, okay.
Calgren?
Call Victor Calgren.
I mean, all we want is enough to keep it in 61A for this year, because we're gonna have our hands full, but we don't wanna see those fields turn. They're
No.
beautiful right now. That was the thing I think that impressed us the most when we saw it the first time. We saw it first last October, I believe it was. And it was already this high again, and it was so green. I've never seen anything so green.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Beautiful piece of land. They've had it for years, been in their family for years. The niece still lives across the street.
Yeah, we've met her. She's very nice.
Yep.
Annabelle, though, I have nothing but good things to say about
Annabelle's a
her.
great
She's
lady.
been very kind, and,
Great lady.
yep, we have a good friend there.
Hung around here for a lot of years with him.
Did you?
Yeah, her and Charlie, oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
We never,
I see a lot of pieces of land, and that's one heck of a nice piece of land.
Yep.
It's just got great exposure, too. It just kind of pitches off
It's,
either
it's
side.
it's
and-
great, just a great piece of land.
Yeah, south, and it's
Yep.
not shaded, it's,
Nope.
I think that's why she wanted us to buy it, because we told her wherever we moved, it was gonna stay a farm.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have any aspirations to develop that in any way, shape, or form. It's gonna stay a farm. So I think that's what did it for her, because she didn't want to see it developed either. And I think she had so much heartache over the other issue
Yeah.
that, you know,
Victor Calgren, he hazed the old Bates Farm on Airport Road.
okay.
You know what Cumberland Farms, I'll tell you where he lives.
Yeah, I know what Cumberland Farms
Well, the road up over Airport Road.
Yeah.
Down the other side,
Yep,
you'll see the houses that were built in the field. When you get to the end of that field, it's the biggest house right there at the end of that field.
Oh, my
That's his
God.
house right there. He's got a model airplane in his front yard of the,
oh, you saw
that's it.
that, right?
That's it, that's Victor.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen some cows back there, too.
Yeah, he might be interested in doing it.
I mean, we even called Wright's Dairy Farm in
Oh, yeah.
Rhode Island. We said, somebody that needs it for cows, you know? Oh, you're too far away. I said, okay.
Yeah.
Connecticut, they said, no, you're too far away. I said, oh, God, somebody's gonna want this hay. Sometimes you see hay bales out in the field because you know it's not good hay.
Oh,
They
that's
leave it
right.
out there because nobody wants it. This
Yep.
stuff is beautiful. So you did a good job.
Put a lot of years in there.
Winsky.
Huh?
Winsky in Oxford, he might be interested.
Maybe.
Winsky Farm too, right in Oxford.
Winsky,
Yeah, they're Home Depot.
okay, yeah,
If you take, instead of going into Home Depot, take a left.
uh-huh.
He has a farm right down there. He has
They feed, they sell beef there, right?
beef and pork.
Yeah.
Okay.
You might be interested.
You know what, we'll
About the
try.
only two farms around. Two
I've
farms
called
left.
so many people, and I've had people call me back, and they're like, oh, it sounds really good, but yeah, you're too far away, or, and like I said, that guy that did it last year, he's not allowed on the property. I'm trying to think of what his name is. Matt?
Boy,
I don't know, but like I said, Annabelle was so disgusted, I said, don't worry, he's not coming back on the property.
it's a shame.
And she wants some hay off him, and she says, I only got 9 bales out of the field.
Out of that whole thing, I mean,
Please. Yep. Are you here for the next one, too?
I
Mark?
think so, Klondike Road?
86 Klondike?
Yes, I am.
You're a busy guy tonight.
thank you very much, Mark.
You're welcome.
Thank you, good luck to you.
Thank you, we appreciate it. Nice meeting everybody.
Same here.
Actually, I got, all of her, do you want the legal ad from?
Yes.
Okay, next on the agenda is 86 Klondike Road. It's an NOI for septic system repair with a new well with the removal of an old deck.
Thank you. Thanks.
This is a repair, Mike. You got an existing house, right?
Yeah, there's this is an existing house on Klondike Road. It sits on the water. The house, the road's high, the house is about halfway down the lot, and then there's the water. They basically want to fix the house up and fix things. And they want to do a couple things. One is install a drilled well and a new septic system. And then in the back, they're going to keep the house the way it is and just renovate the house. In the back, there's some decks that are collapsed, you know, that are unsafe, and they want to remove those. So the work in the buffer zone would be the installation of a new well, the removal of an existing deck, and installation of a pump chamber to pump up near the road where the leach field's going to go. So the actual leach field and the septic tank are just outside the buffer.
Outside the buffer zone.
Outside the buffer zone.
Yeah.
And right now, they probably, I think they draw from the lake down there. I think there's a common well, and it's a shallow well, and they want to put a drilled well in.
Is that the existing well, Rucott there? Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Yeah, I think it's, the well is on his,
Property?
just kind of right on the line. And I know he uses
Is that the water?
the well, this guy next door, and I'm just assuming that this house is on that well too.
Yeah, this is the
Okay.
water side. You got half the cut off. Oh, no. Over here. There we
It's
go.
over there, it's the
Yeah.
same, yeah.
This is the water here.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah.
we're still,
buffer
this
zone.
one
This is
hadn't
all
been
outside
approved from the
the
Board of
area.
Health yet
The pump
because we
chamber
need
area.
variances. The well is too close to existing septics and the septics is close to the wells.
Yeah.
So it has to go to Board of Health. But Mr. Soper's here because he's gonna be the contractor on the job. And the insurance company informed the homeowner that if they don't remove that compromised deck by the end of May, they're gonna have to cancel their insurance because they feel like it's a safety hazard. So they wanna remove that as soon as they possibly can. And doesn't really involve machine work, I don't believe, it's just. Yeah. So there's not a large disturbance, so I don't know if they want to start that as
I
soon as
think
they.
if we're gonna do that, Mark, I think we'll just include that in the in the order.
Okay,
You know, if they want to do it, if they want to take it out with a little machine, go ahead. I mean,
Yeah.
the deck is that bad, I mean,
yeah.
they're already putting a pump chamber in, you're gonna disturb half of what a deck is anyway.
Yeah,
So,
ultimately, it's
I mean,
gonna get
sorta-
disturbed down in there.
Yeah.
And we have erosion control below it.
Yep.
The only DEP comment is they might wanna put some erosion control below that deck, but there's already vegetation growing underneath the deck, and they're not really gonna disturb that area at all, they're just gonna kinda
It was
remove.
just a comment from DEP, it wasn't an addition to the order, was it?
No,
Carol?
it was just a
No,
comment, that was all.
comment.
Comment, okay.
Yeah, but she hadn't seen the site, and it's just, yeah.
He didn't open the public
No, I
hearing.
didn't?
No,
I thought I did.
Oh.
Yeah.
not this one.
My phone was asleep that much? Oh, no, yes, I did. Yes, I did.
No,
Mm-hmm.
no, public hearing right there. I didn't.
I didn't write it in there yet.
You didn't open it, you haven't closed it yet.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Well, you could have opened it, maybe at 5 minutes, 6:55 or something.
Okay, I'll open a public hearing for 86 Klondike Road for the notice of intent for septic system repair, a new well, and the removal of an old deck at 7:04 PM. I thought I opened it.
Do I need to start over?
No,
No butters.
no. You know butters here? 86 Klondike Road? Okay, I'll, close the public hearing at 7:05 PM.
Mark, for your proposed well to your existing, is that your neighbor's leach field? Is that where your issue is, or your own?
Both. So
I mean, it looks like you're about 80, 85, maybe 90
70
feet away.
feet, 70 feet, the new leach field would be about 70 feet from the proposed new well.
Okay,
And then the new well would be about 55 feet from the neighbor's leach field, which is similar to what they have. They have a well on the
Yeah.
other side of the house, and they're about 55 feet.
100.
And then the other ones was we kind of, in order to get the leach field more than 100 feet from the neighbor's well, we kind of push it up on the high corner of the property. We're close to the property line. Title V's 10 feet, and we're asking for a variance down to 5 feet. And that would be to the neighbor to the south, Briquette.
That's everything to do with Board of Health.
So it'll go to Board of Health, but I don't
I'm just wondering-
anticipate there be a problem with the Board of Health, I mean, because it's basically doing the best we can. It's an improvement over what's there,
Right.
and it's the best we can do on the property.
Usually the Board of Health doesn't mind if it's their own, but if it's a neighbor's, they usually have some issue with that.
They what?
I'm just,
He's talking for talking.
yeah.
Yeah, they typically, the Board of Health can give it a variance down to 50 feet from the well to the leach field separation.
Usually on their own,
Well,
but
they
not
can
the
do it
neighbors.
for the neighbors as well, provided it's, the best you can do in the situation. So, they don't really have anywhere else to put the well, short of getting a well truck down by the water, which is probably a little too steep of a, I don't think you could get a piece of equipment down any further down that banking. So their proposed well is set, right before the slope breaks down to the water, and it's as far away as you can get it from everything.
Okay.
There'd be no way, that slope is way too steep to get any sort of well rig on it.
I make a motion that we grant a standard order of conditions for 86 Klondike Road for a septic system repair, new well, and removal of an old deck.
I did, yeah. I did close it, so.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
we
did.
did.
Okay, a motion was made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion was made and seconded to grant a standard order of conditions to 86 Klondike Road for the installation of a new septic system, a new well, and the removal of an old deck. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Say hi to Buddy for me.
I have some paperwork here, too. Can I leave this for you? It's for another project on Klondike Road where they took down the house and rebuilt it, put the septic system across the street.
Yep.
There's two open order of conditions on it, because originally they were going to renovate the house.
Renovate the house, yep, I remember that.
But when they got into it, they just decided it was better to start over. So we had that open order of conditions that was to put a pump chamber on that existing house and pump across the
right.
street. And then we filed another notice of intent that was for the construction of the house. So there's actually two orders of conditions, and I have a letter here and two requests for that.
To close them.
Yeah.
To close them,
Okay.
yeah, okay.
We can do that June 6th.
What's that?
We can do that June 6th.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Did you want the orders of conditions sent to you, all three of
That's
them?
probably better, because then we can make sure they get recorded.
Okay, good, thanks.
Thank you.
Carol, where's the signature form for? Right. That's it.
Which one?
Klondike,
Thank you. Have a good night.
this one's Klondike.
They don't have a signature form for this one. I'm missing something else.
Okay.
What's underneath that folder? Is it underneath?
Underneath. This? No, this one.
No,
No.
no, nothing's here, Carol.
You can print one, you can print one out, Carol, right?
Yeah.
Just come back to the office
Yeah.
after.
Okay, next on the agenda is 420 West Main Street, Webco Chemical, request for an extension to an existing order of conditions. I did the work at Webco, so I can't vote, but I can count as a quorum for the vote. So I'll turn the meeting over to George and
Okay. Is there any, what does Matt request?
To issue a 3-year extension.
All right. Are there any abutters? No abutters? I have a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we issue a 3-year extension to the existing order of conditions for 420 West Main Street, Webco Chemical.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
one abstention.
Motion carries.
Okay, and next is the April 25th meeting minutes. Yeah, you need this, George.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented. I have taken a look at them.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll turn it back over to Dickie now.
Thanks a lot, George, we're closing it out. Carol, I got a...
Wait, no, you
Oh,
gotta
okay. We can
adjourn.
close. Yeah, the motion to adjourn
I make a motion, we adjourn.
at 7:13.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Unanimous.